Maybe you're starting to explore a career as an appraiser and want to know if now is the right time to get started. Or you're measuring your career span in decades and want to find out more about the latest apps, technology, and resources that can make your life and work a bit easier. Get the answers and insight you need with Beyond the Numbers, a podcast from McKissock Learning. I'm Julie Mollendorp Floyd, course and curriculum developer and instructor here at McKissock. Join me and an expert guest each week as we dive into the topics that matter most to appraisers, from industry and education news to marketing and other insights to help you run your business more effectively. If you'd like to stay at the forefront of appraisal news, boost your career, or just learn more about the profession, subscribe to Beyond the Numbers with McKissock Appraisal at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Hope to see you there soon. Welcome to Beyond the Numbers with McKissock Appraisal. I'm your host, Julie Mollendorp Floyd, instructor for McKissock Appraisal and Vice President of Regulatory Affairs for RSDS Appraisal Diversity. Today's guest is my friend Asaph Jewsome, the Assistant Regional Vice President for RSDS Appraisal Diversity, and coincidentally, one of my newest coworkers on our awesome management team. Asaph is going to give us some insight into what it's like being a trainee in today's appraisal climate. So welcome, Asaph. Thanks for being here today. I know you have a lot on your plate.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks for inviting me to this. I'm excited to share my journey with you guys, and hopefully give you some insight into what it's like to be a trainee in today's world.
Sure. So one of the things I frequently ask appraisers is, what did you want to be when you grew up? My plans were to be a teacher. I didn't even know what an appraisal was until about 1997 when I bought my first house. What were your original plans?
Well, my original plans when I grew up was to be an NFL player, like a lot
Mm-hmm.
of young boys growing up.
Sure.
Um, Once I made it to the college football side, I ended up finding out very quickly that that was not in the cards for me. So I had to
Reality
kind of do a
check.
little pivoting. Yeah, had to do a little
Sure.
pivoting. Did a couple other things before I kind of fell into this, but I had a couple friends that had been doing it, kind of like how you said. I had no idea what an appraisal was. I thought they were
Right.
talking about jewelry, but
Not talking about
here we
jewelry,
are.
although
Here we
that
are.
is a valid type of appraisal, but we're
Yeah,
talking real estate. Yeah.
yeah,
So, where are you currently in your journey to licensing?
yeah. So currently, I'm kind of at the in between mark. I went ahead and submitted my logs to the state, and I'm getting ready to sit for my licensing exam to become a
Okay, so
licensed
you're
appraiser.
almost there. Almost there.
Yep.
So, wait a second, hold on. How are you an assistant regional vice president so quickly? How'd you get there?
Yeah, I kind of, I joined a company that's growing very, very quickly.
Right.
Um, and one of the things that they noticed was that they were going to need a little bit more help on the administration side. And in doing that, they wanted to find people that were motivated, hard workers, didn't have to be micromanaged,
Mm,
um, and kind of stood out from the other people, whether that be not complaining or conflict management skills, those types of things.
right.
Um,
One of the things that
Luckily, I
struck
kind of,
me
oh, go
when
ahead.
I met you was you have a quiet energy, and you seem very, very reliable. I'm sure that factored into your quick promotion within the company. So I
Absolutely.
look forward to seeing you continue to do those big things. So you're almost to that credential. Are you going to the license level or are you going to certification?
Ultimately, I'll get to certification. I am going to go license first,
Okay.
but I'm also going to get my certification later on this fall when I'm
Okay.
eligible in September.
Great. Great. So I always tell people who are considering this profession that if you hated writing in high school or college, this is probably not the career choice for you. What are some of the fundamentals that you see someone needs to have to be a good appraiser?
I would say researching skills, first and foremost, being able to
Mhm.
analyze a lot of data, being able to make inferences off of that data very quickly and
Right.
efficiently and accurately.
Mm.
And then kind of like how you said, if you don't like writing, this is not going to be the job for you.
Right.
But if you do find joy in those types of things, analyzing data and then kind of explaining your work, then this is definitely something you're going to want to look into and see if it's a way
Sure.
you to get your foot in the door.
Sure. And I always say, all the math skills in the world won't help you if you can't put that in writing and put that in a clear manner that allows you to convey your conclusions to your client and intended users.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So what's your favorite thing about being an appraiser?
My personal favorite thing is getting an opportunity to see a whole bunch of different types of houses.
Sure.
Um, Here in the Kansas City market, we see a whole lot of different stuff, whether
That
that
is
be
true.
earth berms, different types of split levels, 2 stories, um, 1800 3 stories,
Mhm.
down in downtown KC. So for me, I just got a lot of joy out of being like, you know what, I don't know what I'm gonna get to see today. And
Right.
that's kind of the awesome part about it. No 2 days are the same.
Right. And it's not always glamorous. It's not.
Yeah, it's not always
But it's
glamorous.
always different. It's always
Yes.
different. So, what's your least favorite part about being an appraiser?
My absolute least favorite part is having to crawl into crawl spaces to get a photo of the
Ooh,
appraised.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not pretty.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of spiders. I didn't realize that until this job.
Sure.
But
Sure.
but yeah, that's definitely one of my top pain points.
Right. I can appreciate a good spider. I appreciate they build a beautiful web. I
Mhm.
don't want to encounter them in a surprise type of manner when I'm appraising a property. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Appreciate
Absolutely.
from a distance.
Right, right, right. Absolutely. From a far distance.
Uh-huh.
So, one of appraisers' favorite things to do is tell those war stories.
Mhm.
What's the craziest, weirdest, most unusual thing you've run into so far?
Probably this will be back when I first started,
Mhm.
inspecting on my own.
Okay.
My trainer had just gone on vacation, so
Oh, yeah.
I was going out to a property on my own. When I researched the property, it appeared to be a split level. So
Okay.
I had in my head, hey, this is a split level. This is going to be easy. Those take me about 20, 30 minutes. I get out to the property. There's about a foot of snow on the ground, and it is an earthburn house.
Of
And
course it is.
I had never ran into that before. So I was freaking out, calling my trainer, like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. Can you explain this to me? He calmed me down, walked me through it, told me the steps I needed to follow, told me to take plenty of pictures, and it ended up working out. But
Right. And your
that was a very
trainer,
daunting task.
who was your
Mhm.
trainer?
My trainer was Adam Newsom. I
Ah,
believe he
one of
was a
my
guest
favorites.
on one of your podcasts in the
He
past, actually,
has
too.
been a guest on our podcast.
Yeah,
He is a an outstanding trainer. I love how
absolutely.
he is able to break things down and also that feeling of family. You know,
Hmm.
being a supervisor and taking on a trainee, it is almost a parent-child kind of relationship to an extent. He's so good at being that resource, and even when you are credentialed, he will still be there for you when you have questions. That's so important. So important. You
Yes,
really are blessed with an awesome trainer. So
absolutely.
that's great.
Absolutely.
So so we heard your war story on property type.
Hmm.
Surprise, it's an earthworm. How about one of the questions I like to frequently ask? What's the weirdest animal you've encountered? Anything crazy?
I did do a property where I was told by the homeowners that they had dogs. So, I'm
Okay.
thinking, oh,
I
nothing
like
out of the
dogs.
ordinary.
Sure.
You got dogs, that's cool. They said they'd be in the kennel. So I'm going through and I'm doing my inspection, walking through the rooms, taking photos, and I walk into the main bedroom, and there is a big parrot, and it is not in a cage.
A big parrot.
Yep.
Okay. Not in a
So
cage.
not in a cage. And this parrot could speak very, very well. So he's sitting there yelling out the names of the homeowners. I'm not the homeowner. I can't get him to calm down. So I just hurried up, snapped the photo, shut the door, and
He's
got
the
out of there as
he's
fast
the
as I could.
parrot and the alarm system.
Yep.
I like it. I like it. Did he yell things like "This house is C2 condition" or anything fun like that? Nothing. No
No, no,
plants. Okay.
I think he tried to tell me that they updated the bathroom, but I
I
shut the
think he
door too quick.
probably did. Total remodel. Total remodel. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
So I know one of the missions of the company that we work for is training, is
Mhm,
bringing new appraisers into the profession. As you know, um, our appraiser population is aging
mhm.
and will be, a good portion will be retiring in the next few years. So, what is your philosophy when you're talking to someone who is considering entering the profession today?
My philosophy would be, just make sure that you know what you're getting into, whether that be reaching out to different appraisers in your area, asking them, what their experience was like, talking to different trainees that are currently going through the process.
Okay.
Because today's world is a little different. We've got a lot of different distractions that we deal with our age group than the appraisers of yesterday's time had to go through.
Sure.
So making sure that you're prepared for that, making sure that you have a very strong support system because there will be tough times as there is with any new job.
Mhm.
Um, but making sure you have a strong support system to help pull you back to your feet when you fall down inevitably.
Right.
And then
We all
making sure
do.
that and then making sure that you are prepared to learn. As a
Ugh,
trainee, you're coming into a brand new world. The thing I used to like telling everybody is that I thought they were speaking a different language for my entire first month here.
sure.
Um, but understanding that it is okay to not know the answers. It's okay to ask people, even that might not be your direct trainer, hey, what does this mean? How would you go about this? And just being prepared to pivot, try something different,
Right.
um, fall on your face, but always keep getting up and keep going.
Yeah, one of the things that I think is fascinating and great about the way our company works is you don't just have, you have your direct supervisor. That's the person whose name is on your reports. But you
Hmm.
also have access to a network of
Yeah,
experienced appraisers. I mean, if we probably put it together, it's probably over 1,000 years of experience amongst all the veteran appraisers. So if your direct supervisor hasn't seen it, somebody has. I think
absolutely.
I think that's so important, maintaining that network. So whether you're working for us or you're working for another type of appraisal firm, understanding that yes, you are getting that viewpoint of your direct supervisor, but that it's also important to create that network.
Hmm.
USPAP says do what your peers do. Well, if you don't ever talk to your peers, how do you know? How
Exactly.
do you know?
Exactly.
All right. So what other advice could you give us?
The best advice that I was ever given was by one of my good friends that works here, Karan Brown. And the thing that he told me when I first started was this profession is a marathon. It is not a sprint.
Oh, I love it.
Um, and it took me a long time to realize what he meant because I'm a very impatient person.
Right.
I like to
Right.
learn things very quickly. I like to get it right
Solve
and
the
I like to
problem.
be right. But once I was able to kind of break that down and look into it, like instead of trying to learn the entire process, let's focus on one thing at a time and then
Right.
add to that toolbox. So for me, that was things like learning how to measure first, learning how to measure just the first floor first. Once you learn how to do that, then let's go inside. Let's only label the first floor rooms. Once we learn how to do that, then we can kind of graduate, start going down to the basement, maybe going up to the second floor, depending on what type of property you were looking at.
Mhm.
But taking that approach to things helps me kind of break down that process and not have it be like overstimulating for
Overwhelming.
me.
Sure.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
overwhelming
that's
as
it's
well.
it's a
Yeah.
lot to learn the entire inspection process all at one time. So I do like that thought process of today we're going to focus on the main floor.
Mhm.
I love that. And
Yep.
dear Karan, and I will give Karan a shout out here for as young as he is wise.
He
Don't
is
tell him
very
I told
wise.
you that. But
I won't.
he is that is a great way to say it. The appraisal profession is definitely a marathon, and if you try to sprint, you're probably going to trip.
You're gonna trip. You're gonna run out of breath too.
Oh, good way to put it. I like that.
Hmm.
I like that. All right, so where do you see yourself maybe in 5 years, 10 years in this appraisal profession?
In 5 years, I'm hoping that RSDS is still doing well. Hopefully, just keep moving up here. But I also would like to hopefully start attending some of the conferences and get to the point where I can start presenting some of my thoughts on the different topics that appraisers are dealing with.
I love
Um,
it. I love it. You have, like I said, you have that quiet energy, but I I can tell that you are watching, learning, absorbing. um,
Absolutely.
when we're in meetings together. So, that's an important trait that a good appraiser needs to have is that ability to step back, understand they don't know it all to start, and
Hmm.
observe, assess, process, analyze. All of those skills are fundamental to being successful in the appraisal profession. So
Absolutely.
I commend you. You seem like a natural, and I truly look forward to seeing you do big things.
I appreciate that, Julie. That means a lot. Thank you.
All right. So with that, we're going to wrap up. And thank you so much for joining us today, Asaph. I know you've got work to do, but I appreciate you taking time out from your busy day to be a guest here with me and just talk about what it feels like to be a trainee today. I know what it was like when I was a trainee, but that's
Hmm.
been quite a while ago. So it's good to hear a voice from someone who's currently right in the middle of that process today.
Hmm. Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the invite.
I appreciate it. And thanks to all our listeners. Please be sure to like and subscribe our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And thanks for stopping by. Thanks for tuning in to this week's Beyond the Numbers. If you'd like to stay at the forefront of appraisal news, boost your career, or just learn more about the profession, be sure to subscribe to Beyond the Numbers with McKissock Appraisal at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for stopping by.